Another day of clashes in the streets of Venezuela after opposition leader Juan Guaido called for an uprising against the socialist Maduro regime. You've probably noticed that the protesters there are unarmed and can't really fight back against the government. That's because Venezuela banned private gun ownership in 2012. While covering the chaos yesterday, the mainstream media accidentally slipped up and defended America's Second Amendment. Watch.
You have to understand, in Venezuela, gun ownership is not something that is open to everybody. So if the military have the guns, they have the power. And as long as Nicolas Maduro controls the military, he controls the country.
Jesse, so quite a slip up there. And I always wonder why it's so hard for people in media to realize that what's happening over there could happen over here. Same thing for socialism, right? It's like, oh, that's over there. That's happening over there. But that is what the fear is, that ultimately one day could that happen here if all of our rights are taken away.
Right. The media never looks to reality for examples. They can see everything happening all over the world. But then when you say, OK, well, what about its impact here in the United States, they never take that to heart. I think it was Acosta, Jim, for CNN, who accidentally made the case for the wall when he went down, too. Once in a while, these things happen. But this isn't theoretical. Eric Swalwell, who's running for president, has talked about gun confiscation. Stacey Abrams, Georgia Democrat, has also talked about gun confiscation and actually going door to door to enforce the confiscation. So when conservatives in this country talk about the Second Amendment and rights that need to be protected, it's not theoretical. We've seen the last administration use the IRS to target the Tea Party. We've seen the last administration violate, allegedly, the privacy of Trump campaign officials. We've seen a lot of the government abuse their power. And when you look at examples of Venezuela, that is quintessential government abuse of power and not a peaceful transfer of power, which we actually didn't really have last time as well.
And do you think that if those people had guns, there'd be anything but more chaos, more violence, and more death?
I think it prevents the government from being that egregious in
well, let me ask you a question. How about
power.
Just in New York City? You think that if you had a gun, you could even stand up to the New York City Police Department, much less the State National Guard or the U.S. military?
I think if the American people are armed to the teeth, which we are,
get them more
that
guns.
Prevents government overreach on the federal level.
Hold on a second.
More guns.
Hold on. You don't think that citizenry has a right to? They are faced with a tyrannical leader right now.
They're protesting.
Yes, they're protesting, but they're powerless because most of them really they're being run over by military tanks in the streets because the military is mostly siding with Maduro, and the rest of the population that are fighting for their rights, they're unarmed.
This is a fantasy. First of all, this is an apples and orange comparison between the U.S. and another country, but there is no reality. The idea that if some people had handguns, even automatic weapons, they could stand up to the military? No, that's an invitation to more death and chaos. It's a reach by people who are trying to make the argument for guns for everyone in the USA.
Correct.
The anti-Second Amendment activists often use this or dismiss the argument that lawful gun ownership is an organic defense against tyranny. That, as long as we have the Second Amendment and we have guns, there's probably never going to be an opportunity for a government to turn tyrannical or socialist or fascist in the United States. Some would argue Trump is already there, but I got you. The media accidentally makes the case for everything they are against. And Trump is a great example, because I think they elected Trump by making the case against him. But so here's a neat question. Why is it only socialist countries who want to take away your guns? Because they know ultimately that their ideology can only be coerced, right? So guns make that coercion impossible. Once the guns are in the hands of the population, you can no longer control the population.
Yep. Dana?
It's funny because I was going to make the same argument, but the reverse, which is the best way to prevent this from ever happening here is to continue to have a free and fair country that respects the rule of law.
Yeah, absolutely. And also it's important to note that when the weapons confiscation plan was put into place, only 37 firearms were turned over voluntarily. People did not want to do that themselves. They were forced, and that's when the confiscation came into play.